We're back with episode 11, I think, right? Producer Michelle, is it 11? 12? Wow, we're in double digits now. So we made it. Um, so yeah, this is an exciting one here. It's going to be very colorful. We're talking tie dyes and some really cool garments. And we have Kevin here from Colortone Tie Dye USA. How you doing, Kevin? Welcome to the show.
Hey, doing great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah. So one question right off the bat, I was taking a look at the website. So like Colortone is like, that's the name, that's the logo up there, but it's Tie Dye USA. What's actually the name, and what's like the difference between the two brands? I guess we could just jump right into that.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, great question. I get that a lot. So Colortone is the company, and that website alias was taken. So that domain was taken. So we came up with just tie-dye-usa.com. So that's our site. Name is Colortone.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I know it's tough once you're trying to find that domain and somebody scoops it up already.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like what do you do? And like now you can try like .net and .co, and you can mess with the back part of the name. But does it ever get confusing for people or for your clients?
It
Like
does.
they don't
Yeah,
really know?
it does. Because, my emails will come from Kevin at tie-dye-usa. So it's kind of putting the two together. But I always have the color tone of my signature. So hopefully they can kind of put it together.
One would hope, right?
Yeah.
Read between the lines. Yeah. Very cool, man. So welcome to the show. My partner, Rich, is traveling today. So it's just you and I.
Okay.
Just kind of give you some background. We typically talk all things merch on this podcast. We'll talk about things behind the scenes, product development, designers, just production aspect of all things merchandise. And sometimes we get specific to the music industry, which is where we play the most in. But sometimes we'll do product reviews as well, which we'll end this show in taking a look at some of the product we have here that you sent us. We actually did some promotion on our end and pushing some of this product, and we got some good feedback. So
Awesome.
yeah, so all things merch. And sometimes we'll talk about entrepreneurship and business. And that's some of the questions I'll ask you today is a little bit about the brand and the business itself. And maybe that'll lead me into the next question is, give me a little background of Colortone. Like, how did it get started? How long you guys been around? Any kind of like milestone story you can share with us?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Colortone has been around for about 35 years now, 1988. So it started off as just a contract dye company. So people would just give us their garments and we'd dye them and then send them back to them. Whatever kind of content or shirt style they prefer, they just send that in. We would dye it how they want and then ship it out. So after years of that, we said, well, hey, we see some similar ones coming across to us. So why don't we just stock those? And so then we kind of had a little stocked catalog, a stock line of the more popular colors, and then from there it's just moved into current day where we've phased out a lot of the custom. We don't do any contract work anymore, so you can't really send us anything and then we dye it. Part of the reason that is we operate our factory hand tied and dyed in the Dominican Republic, so
Gotcha.
obviously send those garments to haul down to the DR and that sort of thing. But no, current day, we have 5 million shirts stocked in the warehouse. So
5 million.
Yeah, 5 million.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's evolved into contract dyes to now 5 million shirts in the warehouse, a completely stocked catalog. Typically, you can hop on our website, don't have to be logged in, and you can just click on a color, scroll down, and you'll see that live inventory right there. So
Gotcha. So you're starting to take that inventory stance.
yeah.
What's the distribution model? You guys carried in distributors? Are you selling more direct to consumer? Tell me a little bit about that mix of kind of distribution and the mix of that business.
Yeah, it is a good mix. It's if I'd say maybe like 60%, 65% wholesale, probably 35% direct, and that's really the side that I focus on. So you can find it in Alpha, S&S, One Stop, State, and Carolina Made. Basically any wholesaler except Sanmar because they do their own in house.
They do their own. Got it.
Yep. So. Yeah, so with that, the direct side is kind of where I focus on, and that's where you're going to see more of the higher volume customers, typically the ones with actual programs. like culture, like all the music companies that we deal with. So that's it's fun because even when COVID hit and the music merch kind of slowed down a little bit because the tours weren't active. There was still that web store presence, and then we could still pivot to things like resort business. And the Smokies was big because people were going to the cabins a lot, isolated, but still wanted to go travel. So we did a lot of business down there, and you just kind of pivot to whatever makes the most sense at that time.
Right. Yeah. Reflecting on COVID, has that just affected so many of us in such different ways. But there are some success stories that came out of it too. Like for us at Culture Studio, we got affected just as bad as the airlines industry. We like to say, like, no fly zone, no tours, no live events.
Yeah.
Like that hits us just as hard, but that's when you have to get resilient and you have to pivot and find ways to get through it. Did that hit you guys just as hard, or did you find ways to get through it and actually excel through that, that time?
It did. Yeah. Initially, we didn't know how to take it. Right. Everybody's kind of trying to assess what's going on. But luckily for us, things just really lined up. We had at the time just released the women's line, so we were getting out with the crop hoodie, the jogger, the racerback tank, all kind of lounge wear. And then with that COVID, you're seeing a lot of online sales. So the companies that we sell into that so then they decorate, then they sell it to their customer. It's hitting those end users that during COVID were ordering a lot of tie-dye. Was huge during COVID. People were tie-dyeing it at their house and doing different things. So it really kind of brought that mainstream more than ever. And fortunately, we were able to capitalize on an awesome 2020 and an even better 2021. So
nice. That's good to hear. We love to hear those success stories, because there are some that didn't get through in such good fashion,
Absolutely.
But I think we all relied heavily on e-com and switching that business model to e-commerce and direct to consumer, and that got us by until last year when the tours opened back up and we were all just standing here with open arms trying to capitalize on every opportunity that would come our way. I'm sure you guys are the same.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very cool. So what's a bit of a differentiator for you guys? Obviously dyes and washes and tie dyes is big for you guys. Tell us a little bit about what makes your brand different than others. And then I definitely want to dive into a bit of the process, the dyeing process itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what really helps us and what helped us during COVID as well, and just current day, with all the political issues and stuff in China and India, we're set up so that we take the blanks from Central America, South America, have them shipped into our facility, our plant in the DR, and then they're hand-tied, dyed, and then they come up on containers to us in Miami. So that supply chain there has enabled us to have the 5 million shirts we have in the warehouse, really without any hiccups. So we've been so fortunate there to have that model set up in place, and that is what helps differentiate us from competition. We are the main leader in tie dyes and special washes, so like acid washes, mineral washes, that sort of thing. And given the stock and the fact that you can go online, and order those, and typically ship out that day or the next day if it's larger orders. We put them on pallets, but especially as in the music merch and with tours, you need it yesterday. So when that tour's moving and things are selling down quick, and those replenishments are needed, it helps to have a company like Colortone with that stock and supply to be able to get that and help you out and fill your needs.
For sure. Yeah, definitely a name brand. I think everyone knows that name, Colortone, and has worked with you guys in some capacity. So, the industry's crazy. It's fast paced. I learned a long time ago that it won't change. So stop trying and just fall in line, right? And just
roll with it. Yeah,
just roll with it because it won't change.
Yeah.
I think that's a good segue into. So last episode we had, I don't know if you know Pete Drago from Original Favorites. We had him on the show. And he gave us a real deep dive 101 on cotton, and from Supima cotton all the way to this crazy, very exclusive cotton that it's what do you say, Michelle? It's like $6,000 for bed sheets or something, where you can't even get your hands on this stuff. We didn't really know that. We didn't really know that side of business. I feel like there's probably a lot of people in the audience that don't really understand even what pigment dye is or specialty wash. Right. So maybe you can give us a quick 101. What is I think everyone knows what tie dye is, but if there's a more defined answer to that, but then what is specialty wash? Define that. And then like, what is pigment?
Yeah, yeah. So when we used to carry a solid color pigment dyed shirt a couple years ago, we liquidated that line. That came out essentially when Gildan bought Chenard. So when that happened, there was some serious, service issues and then out of stock issues. So with our capabilities, we were able to pivot and opened up a line of 20 stocked pigment dyes, pigment colors, and that was really good there for about 3 to 4 years. And then you had all the other big names get in, Hanes and Fruit and everybody, and then it was like, okay, let's let's go back to what we do best. But yeah, so with our specialty washes, those come out of our factory in Mexico. Those would be an acid wash, an oil wash, and a mineral wash. And basically, I don't know. I'm not the chemical guy behind it, so I don't know all the. I wish I could tell you more like the cotton guy did, but
Yeah.
I just kind of know, the basic overview. But yeah, essentially, what's done is um, depending on the wash. So we'll take, like, for our acid wash, we'll take a 60-40 blend, and then we'll add the dyes and the enzymes to that to make it kind of fizzle and burn out, and then just give it through some hard washes, and that's how you get that thinning and then that color, the migration of how that color comes on. So it's just kind of looks like a vintage burnout look. And obviously, being a music merch, acid wash, mineral wash, just huge sellers. Mineral wash is actually you different versions of it, with a little bit of some rocks added, and kind of gives it that vintagey. It's a very hard, rigorous process that it goes through, but it gives it that vintage, classic look in the gray and the black.
Right, right, and actually, there's actually physical rocks in the water that's beating up the garment, right?
Yeah,
And,
we
and
do. There
removing.
are some of those. There's some inside there. Nothing crazy, not a huge load, but
Yeah,
to kind of beat up and give it that bit. And then the oil wash, that is actually they turn that inside out, and then set that. And the way that they dry that, it has all the colors. The darker colors go to the edges of the shirt. So as you'll see with the oil wash, the inside, the center is lighter, and then the edges are darker. And again, it kind of gives it that vintage look, huge with like microbreweries, distilleries, that sort of thing.
yeah, yeah. Even the music industry, there are a lot of artists
Oh yeah, yeah,
that love just that vintage wash, giving it that feel, the hand, like it's been a T-shirt that's been worn for 50 years, right? That's the whole
exactly,
point, is to give it that old
exactly.
school feel. Any restrictions to like printing, like inks on after a wash? Is there anything that the audience, that whether they're printers or whether they're brands, the things that they should know as far as inks being used on a garment that has been washed or treated in some fashion?
Yeah, so you can pretty much decorate these however you'd like, and that's the nice thing about them. And what's cool is we saw you guys out in Long Beach, the ISS Imprinted Sportswear show back in January. And what's cool is we even have a 60-40 cloud hoodie that's kind of like a reverse inside-out hoodie. You can print on that just fine, and we had people asking the same questions. And so we just gave some samples over to the booth next to us, and they were just printing all which ways, and it was great to see the ease of which they did it, and then also the end user go, yeah, this is great. Okay, so you can print anything, and always happy to send those customers a few samples to test out as well.
Right. Yeah, we always recommend that, right?
Yeah,
Like before you
yeah,
go into a production run, or if you sell
yeah.
something,
Just
get a
test them out.
piece, test it, print it, wash
Yeah,
it after, make sure that nothing is bleeding or anything like that.
exactly.
Yeah, that's always a good idea. One thing about like tie dye and dyes in general, I feel like our industry in apparel and fashion, there are trends. They come and they go, and they come back and they fade. Um, and I feel like tie dye is one of those. Like there are years where tie dye is huge. Like a Travis Scott will come in and do his whole line with tie dye, and then like it's like you can't get your hands on something. And then the next year, maybe not so much. Do you see those fads and trends come and go? And what does this year feel like for you guys? Are you guys on a growth? Are you seeing that business come back?
Yes, yeah, we're seeing it come back. I think what you had last year, there was a slight decline last year, 2020. Like I said, 2020, great. 2021, even better. 2022, a little bit of decline because I think you had some people, um, I wouldn't say over forecasted, but wanted to be on the safe side. So they bought up, and now they're getting to the point now where they've cycled through that product, but it maybe sat on the shelf a little bit longer. And again, economics comes into that as well. But the overall trend right now that we're seeing and have seen over the last couple of years is to the lighter, more subtle, some pastels, some crinkles, that sort of thing, where it's not necessarily that loud neon rainbow. It's just some more subtle designs where you can, still have the shirt work and match up with the print, but also let the print do some work too. Whereas with the neon rainbow, you can really just put, one color name drop on it or a little emblem, that sort of thing, and it does the rest. But with some of these newer ones that we've been releasing, we've had some more lighter pastels, and then that print really can pop on those.
Right. Yeah, it's already a loud piece, so you can kind of be subtle with the print that you put on it.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally makes sense. How did you get into this industry? I'm always curious to ask anyone that's in this industry because no one grows up to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to be in the apparel space. It's usually you land here somehow, some way.
It's kind of an interesting story how I got here. I was selling. I sold software kind of out of college early on. Did that for some years. And it was just kind of a dry industry, and I just wanted to see what else was out there. So I pivoted to a local apparel company here. I live in Columbus, Ohio, and really enjoyed it, and it was awesome. And then from there, I actually moved on to Colortone, but unfortunately, that former company had enforced a non-compete. So I actually had to take a break for a while and went back to software, kind of like a safe zone. And then once that came due, once that time had expired, got back in touch and was fortunate enough to be able to be brought back on, and then just kind of from there, have had a blast. So I've been with them back now for about 5 years, and then it was 2016 originally. So it's been kind of a wild story, but everything, all is good now, and it's just a blast. I mean, the industry's so fun, from the shows, Long Beach and some of the, Chicago, ASI, and that sort of stuff. Just great people. That's just what it is. It's fun. It's fun to do your job every day, and just you enjoy the people you're with, and it's that makes everything worth it.
Definitely, such a as big of an industry as it is, so small too, right? It's
really,
you can,
amazing. Yeah, yes, it is.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, so, I feel like there's a whole new generation of people joining this apparel space, every single year, but I just feel like I've been doing it for 15 years and I've seen it getting younger and younger. What advice would you give to someone that's just stepping into the apparel space? What advice would you give that young person that's just stepping in?
Yeah, well, I think that it's something to just get in, as soon as you can. Get in any capacity, because I've seen it all across the board. I've seen, people in the warehouse moving on and running sales teams and that sort of thing. So I would say, the key with this industry and a lot of other industries is just get in, cut your teeth, pay your dues, and there's just so many different avenues to go down. I think the key is just to get in and then see exactly what you excel in and what you truly enjoy, what path there. But yeah, definitely, it's a fun industry, and plenty of growth ahead for sure.
Absolutely. Once you get in, it'll never let you go.
That's true too.
It'll never let you go, but that's a good thing. It's full of career opportunities. But
no,
thank you for the background. That's awesome. We're going to jump into really quick and end it with the bit of a product review here. I actually it's good at time because I think Coachella is happening right now. These are very Coachella-like colors. I feel when I look at these colors of these jean jackets. We have I know, Michelle, you're going to add some of the products in here so the viewers can see it, but I'll just hold this up. What is this? What is it? The 9050 denim jacket?
Style 9050. I actually got that one right here with me too. Love that one.
There you go.
That's the Lagoon. So that's the Lagoon color. We got 3 tie-dyes, and we have 2 crystal washes. We got the black crystal and the navy crystal. And then we got the Lagoon that you got there, the cotton candy, and the eternity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think this is the cotton candy, right?
Cotton candy. So that's funny. That's an all-time best-selling color. We do take suggestions, as you know, from the music industry. We do take some suggestions. That was actually developed for Ariana Grande's tour about 5 years ago,
Nice.
and it was a smash hit in the hoodie. So we put it in essentially every line we have, and it's still a bestseller. So we had to include that. The cool thing about these is it's really the 5 best colors. We've gotten to the point now where we know what works and what doesn't, and we wanted to give people more of a conservative crystal blue and navy, if that was the route they wanted to go, and depending on the music, and then the cotton candy and the lagoon and the eternity for the other stuff.
Yeah, it's a great piece, an awesome color as well.
Thanks. Yeah.
Cotton candy is the right color. You almost want to eat it. It looks like that color.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. The 9050, it fits boxy too. It's not like super tight. It's not a super fashion fit, but I think it's got good weight to it. And the dye is great. I know that we did a product launch over here at Culture Studio. We kind of pushed this out to our clients, and we got a really good response. Everyone hit us back and was like, "What is that? Where'd you get that? What style is that?" And I think the color alone just grabs attention. But after you put a print on it, whether that's like a full color plastisol print on the back or just some embroidery on the front, you can make it look super trendy. And that's why I said probably a lot of people rocking this at Coachella this weekend, just because it kind of fits that style.
Absolutely, yeah. And we what we did in the back there was cool. We had a few prototypes, and we moved the seams out so you can see on the back there. It's just a great area to embellish. So it's just a big flat square almost. You can embellish that on the back. It came about, as you know, we sell in the short sleeve and the hoodies to all the tours, and the big company said, "Hey, we need a high ticket item. We need something high ticket. We've got the price points covered for the short sleeve and the hoodie. Give us something high ticket." So we said, "All right, well, let's go back and what do you think about a jean jacket?" I mean, it goes hand in hand with music, and they loved it. And so a couple prototypes later, here we are. We got our first shipment back in March, and same thing. Shows in January at Vegas and Long Beach. Amazing feedback. And with that spandex in there, it does have a nice little stretch to it where it's got that good, unisex fit and just very versatile.
It's got a great fit. I know my partner Rich is rocking this cotton candy one right now in Michigan,
Right.
frolicking away. He's frolicking and skipping everywhere. Well, we love the high ticket items as well. Anything that adds more value, more perceived value is always great for a product line.
Yep.
This is awesome. Thanks. I appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks for talking us through this product. And everyone check out Colortone. We got some awesome colors.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. Have a great weekend, guys.
Absolutely. You too. Thanks. Have a good one.
Take care. Yep. Bye.